Once a cheater, always a cheater. What are your thoughts on this statement, and what would it take to start a relationship with someone who has cheated before? My wife cheated on me 2 years ago. We are still together, but every single day I wonder if she'll do it again. That's what once a cheater, always a cheater really means. Once someone labels you as a person who is capable of cheating on them, no matter how much effort the cheater puts into change, there is now that correlation that was never there before. You can never get rid of it, you can ignore it and move on, but it's part of your story forever, and for me that's been the hardest thing to overcome. She was never capable of cheating on me until she did it, and now she'll never not be someone who cheated. Before I started dating my ex-boyfriend, he explained to me how he cheated on his ex, and that's how their relationship ended. Very hard for me to accept, knowing how big of a red flag that is. But I was really into him, and he convinced me he wasn't about cheating and games anymore. After dating for 1.5 years, he started cheating on me with his ex for 2-3 months. As soon as I found out, I ended it. I was shocked at the time, but I also knew what I was getting myself into. Never dating a cheater again though. I'm not gonna be fooled twice. On one of my first dates with my now husband, he asked me if I had ever cheated on anyone. I was so surprised by the question, but now I understand where he was coming from. Actions say more than words. If someone actually, truly, puts effort into changing themselves, be it therapy to figure out why they cheated before or just general self-reflection, if it seems as if they're actually trying to correct themselves, then I would trust them, but still keep a metaphorical short leash about it. If it seems like they're only saying it because they want to be back together, or it feels like they won't change or reflect on their own issues, then it's not worth it. In my experience, this is more or less true. My ex cheated, not with me, on the girl he dated before me, and, gasp, he ended up cheating on me, too. I also have, or rather had, 2 friends who've cheated on literally every boyfriend they've ever had, and neither of them were even slightly remorseful. Instead, they just made up excuses to try and justify the behavior, and in my ex's case he just denied it, even despite irrefutable evidence. All of that being said, I would never pursue a relationship with someone who has a history of being unfaithful. And in my ex's case, he just denied it, even despite irrefutable evidence. Gotta love the old deny tactic. Those types are too dumb to realize that. Sure, you can't prove specifics, but all respect and love is dead after that. They just shot their own foot. People do change sometimes, but not usually. And when they do, you're probably gonna know it, rather than having to trust in it. Sometimes men change for the better. Sometimes men change for the worse. And often, very often, given time and opportunity, he waved his flask around for a moment, then shrugged, they change back. Joe Abercrombie. For me, it is a point of morals over trust. Therefore, if someone has considered it okay to cheat in the past, they would do so again. I'm not saying they definitely will, but are certainly capable of it. Worse when they don't get caught, as they feel like they can get away with it and therefore more likely to do it again. For me, twice a cheater, always a cheater comes closer to the truth. Once might be a slip up, or might have some reason behind it, and you come to regret it and never cheat again. If you cheat twice, you'll do it again. I would agree with this. More like is cheating completely out of character or not. I know a couple people who cheated, one time thing, were in unhappy relationships that ended shortly after the incident. I also had the pleasure of dating a guy I found out cheated on every girlfriend he's ever had, including me, and also with me, lied and said he had broken up with his girlfriend. Depends on the context. How long ago was it? If it happened long in the past and it was only once, I like to believe people learn from their mistakes and can change. Also, for me, at least for me, did they cheat on someone while they were dating or when they were married? Obviously both are hurtful to the other person, but I would be much more hesitant in the latter situation, as it means that person broke a vow. If it's long ago, chances are they've changed, or were very unhappy. If they're cheating with you though, in my experience they'll 100% cheat on you. Agreed. Like I've heard people say, the guy that leaves his wife or his mistress now has an opening for a new mistress. If someone is actively cheating and gets rewarded for that cheating with a shiny new relationship, They have zero motive not to cheat again. Absolutely nothing would get me into a relationship with someone who was known for cheating. I've been fairly recently cheated on. 15 years of being together, 11 being married, all straight down the toilet because my ex-wife decided the grass was greener on the other side. The amount of absolute heck I have gone through these last 6 months is going to make any history of cheating an instant and complete turn off. I do not want that hurt again. I barely survived this time. I don't think I could keep myself from throwing myself off a cliff next time. Agree entirely, except you'd be throwing the wrong person off the cliff. Cheated on a girlfriend when I was young and dumb. We had issues and I just wanted to be the man to someone again, like I said, young and dumb. Anyways, we broke up for other reasons. Then she found out when she was moving out and it just made everything so much worse. I hated seeing how my actions affected her. Just such an unnecessary additional pain. And I felt so scummy I made a promise to myself never to cheat again. Be honest about your feelings. End a relationship or work to improve it, but don't look to another for validation relief. IDK. Not all men are dogs. I was never looking to just get laid but instead had some self-esteem issues and crap. Justify it however I want. I understand why that girl would never trust me again. At the same time I learned from it, wish we could go back and just work on the actual issues. But instead I just move forward trying to be a better person with that don't cheat as, like, the simplest requirement for myself. Cheaters know what they're doing. No one accidentally starts texting, accidentally gets flirty, accidentally meets up and accidentally cheats. I always thought of it as an age thing too. Younger you are, you'll cheat again because you really don't got much to lose. Older people might have a house under their name with their or children and they can learn from their mistakes. Especially when they're found out and about to lose it all. I know a lot of people that have been cheated on and they're never the same post relationship. The amount of trust issues the other person gets scarred with insane. Exactly. Cheating is a conscious decision that someone makes to not give a crap about someone they agreed to be loyal to. Statistically speaking, a person who cheats in their younger years are more likely to cheat later in life. So I absolutely agree. If I were to every probe for red flags with a potential partners, the fact that they cheated in the past would be a massive red flag and I'd quickly lose interest. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be able to maintain a friendship with them, but as a potential relationship they are well out of the running. Don't believe in it in general. There are some people who don't care if they hurt other people, but very often people cheat because they're emotionally not invested or feel good in their relationship. It's like a mental breakup that wasn't expressed yet. I don't know many cheaters, but those I know were in a very stale relationship. They didn't do it out of malice but didn't have the spine to break up. And their partners took it as a bait and felt more self-righteous about the end of the relationship. I don't condone that and they got roasted for their pathetic behavior by me, but it means that former cheaters act differently in a relationship they feel good with. What people said. People can change. Do what you feel is right. Judge them not on their past, but who they are now. If they still feel iffy, you don't have to go ahead with the relationship. Once a guy cheats, it's game over for me. I don't stick around for a round 2, and if I know for a fact a guy's cheated before, I usually avoid dating them simply because they've already proven unfaithful. I cheated on my trashy ex-wife while she was cheating on me. The whole relationship was a mess, and we were miserable. I would never, ever cheat on my now wife. I am the happiest I have ever been, and under no circumstances would I cheat. Thank you for bringing up this important aspect. The dynamic of a relationship can contribute to one or both people ending up cheating on the other. I've been in a relationship where we both cheated on each other, and I've been in a relationship where there would have never, ever been any cheating from either of us. Maybe they won't cheat again, but someone else can test it out. Not going to be me. I'll never date a cheater and I'll never help someone cheat. Just imagine as was your boy or girl. Might get downvoted to oblivion, but I agree with the statement. When you realize change is not easy, it's much more efficient to move on to someone else rather than wait for a cheater to change. Of course, my sample size where I've dealt with someone that betrayed my trust is skewed. What I learned was that she was trying to present herself as she had changed, but she didn't actually change. Thankfully I trusted my intuition before I let her load the bullet in the chamber once more. Personally, I just wouldn't be able to. It just skeeves me out too much. Just because someone changes doesn't mean they can't change back under the right circumstances. I know this woman from college, whose then boyfriend cheated on her. They broke up for several months and got back together. Then he cheated on her again, with the same girl. Broke up again for months and got back together again. A year later she got knocked up, and wouldn't you know it, he cheated on her yet again. When I bumped into her last year, she was living with her son in a bad neighborhood, working a dead-end job, while he's out there enjoying his life. So no, I would never go back to someone who cheated on me before. True. For me, once the trust is gone, it's gone forever. There's no earning it back. I'd never want to live my life second guessing what a partner is up to if he's on a business trip, working late, out with the guys, etc. No man is worth that to me. I'd rather be alone. Beyond that, I'm nearing 50 these days. From what I've observed, this is what happens with cheaters. 1. They reconcile with their understanding partners only to cheat on them again and again and again after some amount of time. The partner either says frick it after the second time, or just deals with the serial cheating, usually the latter. 2. The partner leaves the cheater and the cheater ends up with the side piece. Cheater marries that person only to cheat on him or her when they tire of that person. Lather, rinse, repeat. No thanks to all of it. I don't buy it. The saying implies people are unable to change, and I disagree. The problem is people usually don't see they have a problem. It doesn't mean they can't change. Not overnight obviously, but with a lot of work and determination. I think it's true. If you give them a second chance, they know they can get away with it and will most likely do it again. Obviously there will be a few exceptions to this, but I wouldn't be able to trust someone who had cheated on me. I suppose a person could get out of the habit if they really wanted to, but I think they enjoy the thrill and the adrenaline rush of it or something. I have never cheated. I just break things off first because I am not an butthole. I don't think it's always a matter of love or not loving enough. Some people just enjoy being selfish and inconsiderate. Yeah, I'd never start a relationship with someone who has cheated. Growing up, my dad constantly cheated on my mom. Way back to when one of my siblings was a baby up until literally New Year's Eve of this year. She told me she was going to leave for real this time, but nope, it hasn't happened. I don't get why she doesn't respect or love herself enough. I'm an adult now. I can now actually understand these situations. Back then I thought this was normal. Plus when I was younger, my sibling and I had to deal with the consequences of this all. Be it our mom being mad and not knowing how to control her anger. She didn't hit us, just everything set her off and she would get angry, emotional because of something our dad did. To teenage me walking into my brother's room on Christmas Eve as we heard screaming coming from the living room. So yeah, frick that. I wouldn't date anyone who has cheated. It caused my brother and I so much pain regardless if we actually want to acknowledge it or not. I'd never want my children to grow up with nights of hearing their mom cry and yelling or screaming. Frick that. My mom is always telling me to respect myself sexually and wait till marriage, but it baffles me how she doesn't respect herself when it comes to being cheated on and just allows it to happen. Truly, it's sad and I wouldn't want to be in the same position. I want a healthy relationship. I don't believe in that statement. I've cheated in my teenage years and always felt guilty about it. I've never done it since then to avoid that feeling of guilt ever again. I think there is a huge difference between someone who got caught up in a moment, regretted it, and came clean versus someone who carried on a whole other relationship for a period of time and had to engage in intricate lying to do so. Emo people who fall into the latter category are a lot more likely to cheat again. Same can be said for people who have repeatedly cheated on others already. I think context in terms of age, length and level of relationship is very important. And life situation. I went nuts after my father and sister passed away. My boyfriend at the time stopped allowing me to see certain friends and wouldn't accept my attempts to break up. It was awful and I turned to sleeping with people as a form of self-harm. It was bad. I think it is kind of bulls because relationships are extremely complicated issues and you have no idea what led to what action. Yeah, but cheating by definition is going behind someone's back. Yes, you could argue that it may have been because of certain reasons, but if that were the case, just break up with them first. I cheated on my wife with her brother's wife. And then when I finally cast things off with her brother's sister and came clean to my wife, she told literally everyone. I think it was as impossible a situation to work through as there could have been. I went down to my family's house and came clean to them as well. They were shocked, but my dad very quickly told me, if you want to be with her, you have to do two things. You have to never cheat again, and you have to make sure she knows you worship her. I then went back home and started the toughest process of my life. I cut myself off of social media. I got myself into therapy. I dealt with all the anger and hurt and sadness every time it came up. I apologized to her profusely. I quit my job and dove into starting a company of my own. Somehow, seemed better to try to build two things at once. And I was just honest from there on out. Now, to Up's question of always a cheater, I do kinda equate this existence now to that of a recovering alcoholic. I will always, for the rest of my life, be a recovering cheater. But 2.5 years later, I've been faithful. Company is killing it. I have freaking self-esteem again. And my wife and I are doing honestly better than we were ever pre-cheating. I hate that it took my unfaithfulness to get here and really wish it would have happened any other way. But I'm also incredibly grateful for the second chance. I know what's on the line now, and that's the most surefire piece to keeping me in line for the rest of my life. I believe this sentiment, but only because of my personal bias experience. After a person cheats, in my eyes, there's nothing worth redeeming. I have never been cheated on, I think and hope, but I'm the same way. If you cheat on someone you love, I want absolutely nothing to do with you, not even as a friend. I have never cheated, never even been tempted, whereas I have been cheated on, so I know just how freaking awful it feels. Cheating is freaking low as heck. People can change for the better, yes, but that doesn't absolve them of their crappy past. I just don't have any interest in being with someone with a crappy past. So to answer the question, once a cheater, always a cheater? Maybe not, but there was still once a cheater, and that's enough for me to pass. I once heard a very logic explanation from a psychologist on the radio. He explained that there is a moral barrier in people that keeps them from doing immoral things, like cheating. For some people, the barrier is stronger than for others. This is not a thing one can change. However, there is one thing there is a lot of misconception about. It's not that the threshold is low next time, so after someone cheats the whole barrier is gone. Once one has made the decision to do the immoral thing, the moral barrier has not enough substance anymore to function as a barrier. It's not about the reason that someone cheated or the arguments one once had to justify their cheating. It's the fact that they did. Next time, those arguments, egg my partner doesn't give me enough attention, might not be applicable at all, but the cheater will make up other arguments to justify their cheating. They did so before, and there is nothing holding them back from doing it again. So, that came from a psychiatrist. From now on, it's my own opinion and experiences. Cheaters know how to cheat and keep it hidden from past experiences, as well as lessons learned on what didn't work, so they'll get better every time. Unless they are just really bad at being secretive or just have zero F's to give. I've been cheated on by my husband of 11.5 years. He had quite some issues. His problem was that he didn't talk to me about them. This is a character flaw of his, which I want to point out because it is an issue I'll come back to. He never told me he was unhappy with some things, and when he decided there was no way for us to work things out, he was too cowardly to leave me, so he started cheating on me. When I found out, it was over. He felt relieved. I was the one to break up. He would never have the guts to do it himself, and that is the kind of person he is. Thing is, he's still that man. He's still not open enough to tell people what's bothering him. When he'll get unhappy I'm a relationship, he won't be the one to address it. He won't include the other person, and so he won't be able to work things out, which at one point will lead him to exactly the same point he was at in our marriage, unhappy and lacking something, but not willing, or daring, to break up. Guess what he'll do? And finally, from my perspective, I could never ever trust anyone who has cheated in a previous relationship, whatever the reason was, and I would never give a cheater a second chance. I think I've already proven that by leaving the father of my kids. And trust me, I was very much still in love with him up to that point. TL. Dr. 1. Psychologist says cheaters will cheat again because their moral barrier is gone and they will get better at it. 2. I divorced my cheating husband and will never trust a cheater again because it's an underlying character flaw. Cheated in my early 20s, would never cheat again, especially after then getting cheated on by someone I loved truly and thoroughly, not something I would wish on an enemy. Nah, no trust. I was talking with a girl, we were friends for a long time, but she is a known cheater. That's why I didn't date her before, but it happened, and I insisted we take it slow and had talks about cheating and what's okay and not. Found ourselves in a good place. Not even 2 weeks later, she confesses she slept with someone else at a party. Sweet girl, and we did have good chemistry, but I am not about to play that game, so I broke things off. Call me old fashioned, but it is a risk you are taking if you know they've been that way in the past. Unless they are actively working on it in counseling or something. It's a big red flag. Nothing. I wouldn't get into a relationship with someone who has cheated, unless she did it in her mid to late teens and is 25 or over now, so hopefully matured. They may be different now, but I don't care to find out because most likely it will be a waste of time. Only exception would be if it was a non-serious just to bang relationship, so I don't have to put in effort and make future plans because the relationship is open and temporary, thus worthless. But that might as well be just being buddies, not some clown relationship. I believe the statement is more in attitude and trust than in them rather than actually cheating again. I could never trust a cheater. Simple as that. Every time they are late, or somewhere I don't know, it would drive me crazy. I'd definitely be jealous over any male friends. It just sounds like literal heck to date someone who cheated before, even if you are genuinely sure they wouldn't do it again. I strongly believe the once a cheater always a cheater part. There is something fundamentally wrong with the personality of a cheater if they think they can get away with it, and personalities never change. They only evolve. I would never date someone who was in a monogamous relationship and cheated on their partner. One time is one too many and there is no excuse for it. Most people have monogamous relationships, and in those relationships you make a commitment to your partner to love them and be faithful. If you cheat on someone, that shows you don't love that person. I don't care if it's a man or a woman, they are being selfish if they cheat. Love involves sacrifice, and if having a fling is more important than being faithful to your partner, that shows that person only loves themselves. I don't know if I would ever fully trust someone that's cheated before. Knowing they had betrayed a former partner like that would always have me questioning them, especially in regards if you're the one they cheated with. If they cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Especially that last sentence. I believe that people can and do change. No one is the same person all through their lives. I also believe in second, and sometimes third, chances. I know for one that I'm a better person now than I was in my early 20s. That must be true of others. Cheating shows a lot of negative things about somebody's character. It would be hard to be attracted to or trust somebody with those traits. Why would you want to be with somebody who has a proven history of dealing with relationship difficulties by breaking the agreements of the relationship behind their partner's back? A partner is either in the relationship as agreed, or if they don't want to keep those agreements anymore, they need to talk to their partner about it. Breakup. If somebody cheated on a teenage relationship, then I would consider wouldn't judge somebody else for giving them a chance as an adult on the basis they've outgrown that behavior and learned to deal with a relationship properly. But anybody over the age of about 21-22 who cheats should have already known better and isn't going to change. I don't care too much about the whole cheating thing in the first place. I've never done it, but I never really got why cheaters are treated like they're next to Hitler. If the cheating is indicative of an underlying relationship issue, then the issue is with that, not the rumble in the hay. Sex is just sex. Otherwise, do you enjoy yourself and are happy when you're with the guy gal? If so, then great. If not, then maybe you need to just confront it and fix it, or move on. I just believe that nobody owns anybody, or should expect to have anybody. A relationship is not something you can have and expect it to last forever. You both need to work at tending it as long as it lasts. And if it falls apart, it's not necessarily the fault of either person, but everybody should be able to be happy in the end. A lot of times, people may feel stuck in a relationship, and I feel that's the main reason why they resorted to sneaking. Why did they feel stuck? It could be their cowardice, It could be they have no other option, like if their living and sustenance depends on the relationship financially or what have you. It could be just that they aren't being satisfied sexually. It's all still understandable for me and part of human nature. If it happens, just talk about why it happened and you can move on. Maybe with the same partner, or maybe it's just time to move on with another. But it doesn't make anybody the devil inherently. So yes, I'd date a cheater. It's so weird why this is a label, like it's part of your DNA. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.